Myself Dipti Ranjan. I am the part of Agile training program in Kernel Training Institute. So we basically deal with training to different corporate sector where we want for the demo classes of Agile. Here today we are going to have a demo classes. I just going through the courses detail of Agile course. So here I am not going details of each and every topic of Agile. Today I am just going to explain why we need an Agile, what is the most important function of Agile in our life in our software industry, and how we can deal with the project with using the Agile methodology. So before going to do details about Agile methodology, I am going to explain a little bit about our institute. I have been connected to Kernel Training Institute for last many years. I have been having 10 plus years of experience in training and all these things. So not in Agile, in Selenium, mobile testings as well. So we are dealing with providing the training programs to the corporate agencies as well as the people who have been interested on software kind of thing, so they can hold off and they can use their knowledge on Agile methodology to provide the training facilities of those candidates also interesting on software testing, Selenium as well. So basically for this demo classes, so before going to start about Agile methodology, generally when we work on a project, we definitely looking into certain factors. So what are those factors? Now Agile is not come to this project part or something like that kind of say when you are coming into a project or in your office, if you are a corporate guy. Basically Agile methodology is known to that persons who have been evolving in our software industry. Now somebody who has been joining in a company as a new candidate and he doesn't know what is going on in the company, what are the methodologies that is going to be followed in your company, and what are the things that can be delivered. So company, a software company or a product company or anything, they are dealing with the products. The last thing that need to be coming out as an output from a company or the organization is a product. Now that product can be a shippable one. When I am saying shippable, that means, let's see what does it mean by a shippable. Let's say the shippable means, I'm just sharing a notepad so that I can take out the terms as well. When I'm telling shippable, that means the product is going to be delivered to the client. The product is going to deliver to the client. That's okay. We are going to deliver the product to the client. That is okay. But how it could going to be delivered to the client? Now it will be in processed manner. The process manner is what I'm saying. Now before going to details about how means Agile and what is all these things, we need to know before that what is that means Scrum, what is Kernel. So how does company deals with that product? Suppose I am a organization and I want to deliver my product to a certain customer. Now the customer wants certain types of dealings to me. That means I am giving the requirement. When I am saying requirement, the one term that I use here is requirement. What is requirement? A requirement is nothing. So what is a requirement? A requirement is nothing. The user has certain demands. What are those demands? Now the demands is that in the form of shippable output. What is a shippable output? The term that I've been writing in my screen. The user has certain demands. When I'm saying a requirement is nothing but the set of demands from an user to a product company or to a company or an organizer who is going to deliver that product. Suppose as a customer, if I go to a grocery shop and I require that I need two bottles of milk or 2 bottles of rice or 2 kilos of sugar, that kind of way. So these are my requirements. Now the way they are going to deliver to me the sugars or the milks or rice, that depends upon them. How good they are going to pack with it. If I asking about I need 2 liters of milk from the customer or the grocery shop. So for me, groceries, I am the customer of the grocery shop. Now the grocery shop will take the requirement from me that the customer demanding 2 liters of milk. Now when I'm saying the 2 liters of milk, Now this milk can be transferred me to a carriage container. Now that type of container, if they will ask me that, sir, do you have any container so that I can give you the milk? That is one option. The second option is they can also ship me a 2 liters of milk with a packaged manner. So they have their own packaging kind of stuff, so that they can pack those 2 liters of milk and they can ship to me. So there are two options. Either I can opt for the customer to demanding the container, or from myself I can give it 2 liters of milk in a packaged way or packaged food kind of thing. Now, which one is greater, or which one do you think that is the betterment? Of course, if I am been sponsoring myself in a packaged manner, so that the customer, they can see that yes, it is a well organized grocery shop. They have been giving me a good quality of food with a packaged kind of thing. So that is called as shippable output. That is something if I deliver to a customer with respect to their requirement. When I say their requirement, the term requirement is my demands, what I needs. If these are my demands, I need a software where I can log in a website, where I can let's say where I can put my application in my mobile. I can deliver that to my mobile as well. So these are the requirements where I can get it from the customer client. So the requirement comes from the client end. When I say client, in the software analysis, client is nothing but the source of requirement. Now, when I'm saying shippable product, when I'm saying shippable output, it means organized way of delivering the requirements. That means I am going to deliver the product in an organized way. When I'm demanding, so I am going to deliver the product in an organized way. So why I'm saying these two terms, requirement and shippable output, that is, before going to do an agile introduction and before going to the agile methodology, we just need to know, for the beginners who have been joining in a company, or those who have been professional and working for a long term, they could know these terms are the friendly terms, that is requirement, shippable outputs. Okay. Now, why agile came from, where it is came from, how it is came from, why it is been followed in different industries, that will come in today's session as well. But before going to that, first of all, remember this agile program that has been demonstrating over here, that I can be demonstrated in a classroom training as well, or we are delivering with an online training as well. But the approach that has been followed in different corporate industry is that they have been having classroom trainings as well. Why it has been a classroom training? Before, suppose I am giving an explanation in front of your system, so that information cannot be viewable. Means suppose I am going to create an action of certain requirement, or certain exercises are there to understand the demonstration of agile. What does it mean by demonstration of agile? Suppose I am giving a theory part over here. Now how do I practically show what exactly the corporate industry are working, and how do you work with agile demonstration? So for that reason, there is a practical session as well we can do at the later part of the training. So don't worry, we are going to take each and every part of agile methodology from the scratch, from A to Z. So there is nothing to worry. We are here to help you. We are here to demonstrate you what you need and what you need from us. Each and every time, if you have any questions, you can ask me in between, or else you can go to the latter part of the session. You can ask me for the previous section as well. Okay, so from these two parts, we are now understand that what is a requirement, what is a shippable product, and what is a shippable output. So these are the two terms I just remember for beginner peoples, or for those who have been expertise in software industry. They have nothing to explain about requirements as well as shippable products. So came part to the agile part as well. When I'm saying agile, how does it going to be work in a real life environment? Suppose in a project, we know that the client requires certain type of outputs or the shippable products from us. Now, how do you produce those shippable products in a in a processed manner? Suppose if I need a packet of chips packet, let's say I need a popcorn packet from a grocery shop. If I go to the popcorn packet, you can see the popcorns have been packaged well. with the label that is the price tag, with the label that is the expiry period, with the label that is the manufacture date. So all this, the output comes to my hand is the shippable product. When I take this product in my hand, I can able to understand what is the packet is all about. It's a popcorn packet. What is the manufacture date? Where is the expiry date? How it will be dealing with. So these are the things that I need to know. Now before, Agile, so there are different industry for later when Agile is going to evolve. The later part of the industry, they have been going, earlier they are going to use waterfall model. When I say waterfall model, what does it mean by waterfall model? So what is a waterfall model? So waterfall model is nothing but it's a software development life cycle. When I say SDLC, that means software development life cycle. So what does it mean by software development life cycle? Now when I'm saying that a customer from the scratch I'm been describing, if you have any doubts in between, you can ask me. So from a client, for a client, they are requiring a product which is going to be ready by the customer or the grocery shop. Let's say here an example of grocery shop. So they are going to deliver me a popcorn packet. I require a popcorn. So I am just giving a popcorn. I am just requiring a popcorn. So how they are going to deliver to me, it's up to them how they are going to shippable to me. Now they are going to take the kerns from the farmers. If I'm going to details about those requirement, let's say from the, if you are not going for the product food processing part, we are directly going to an live example of a project. Suppose I am a customer, I am going to an corporate industry. I demanding that I want a website. Since we all are the software industry background, so I'm just giving an example. So we want a website. So what does it website dealing with? So I want a website where I need to see the links of all these my favorite web pages. That's okay. I'm giving that. I have a username and password where I can store those links as well. So these are my requirements, and how the look and feels is defined by me as well also. Now when I'm giving you the requirement, when I'm giving the requirement to the development team or the teams who have been going to develop that particular product, so they're going to analyze my requirement. So when I'm saying analyze my requirement, so there is a term called analyze. JD or SE, you can write it. Analyze. Analyze what? Analyze the requirement. Analyze the requirement means they have to analyze what the client wants from that requirement. What are the things that the client wants from that requirement or the outcome. Then they are going to design. So after the analyze part has been over, so they are going to design. Then what are the design part? In the design phase, I'm just pointing out what is the software development life cycle. Whenever demanding a software from any service-based industry or any industry in a software industry, what are the phases that we are going to follow to develop that product? So for developing that product or the shippable product, we are different phases earlier before Agile methodology. So that is called Waterfall Model. There are different types of software development life cycle. Waterfall model is one of them. So I'm describing a little small part of software development life cycle. So we are going to analyze the requirement. There are going to be a design phase where so I'm just writing down the phases, then I'm going to details each and every sections of that. So these terms I've been explaining over here, that is analyze, design, all these things. So these terms are going to be explained in later part of the Agile methodology. So don't worry, because we are just we're just going to each and every steps. Don't worry, we are here to help you every part of this training. So the terms that has been memorizing like way, that is analyzing phase, analyzing the requirement, then designing, what we call designing phase, then implementation phase. I'm going to describe each and every phase. Then verification, then refactor, quality check, or you can make it as a refactor. Then, so these are the phase: analyze, design, implementation, verification, refactor, and quality check and deliver. So these are the phases of software development lifecycle. When I'm saying these are the phases of software development lifecycle, that means when I'm going to develop a product, I need to come across all these points, all these steps. This is not the point. These are the phases of development. when I am going to develop anything in my industry or any part, it's not software industry, any requirement that are going to be implemented for the client, I need those type of phases earlier. Waterfall model, for the waterfall model. So why I'm saying it's a waterfall and these are the terms. How the name comes from waterfall model, I will tell you how the name comes from. I'm going to describe one of the sites that has been there. The site's name, suppose I'm going to, you can search it in the website as well, waterfall model. So there I can describe you the diagrams. Now in this diagram you can see there is a requirement phase, there is a design phase, there is an implementation phase, verification, maintenance, or that is called refactor, quality check, then we're going to be delivered that product. All the phases, and there are later phases are there as I have already described to you as well. Now here what the steps that have been mentioned, that is analyze, designing, implement, verification, refactoring, quality check. Refactor, quality check can be under maintenance, that's the thing, and the delivery of the product. Now earlier before Agile, people used to follow those steps. Now the following the steps in different manner creates different models. So these are the 5 or 6 steps, that is steps 1, step 2. All of us know these steps because these are the basic fundamental things of SDLC. So these are the 5, 6, 7 steps that we're going for. So these are the steps for the delivery. So these six steps can be followed. Now the way they have been followed, they have different naming convention. That means if I'm going for an analyze, requirement, then design, then implementation, verification, effect, the way they are going to be followed. So the model names are be evolving from there itself. Now, why I'm saying waterfall model? So it's in one example. Generally, when the requirement comes from the client, so now the requirement, each phase has a different timeline. Suppose if the requirement came from the client, for the analyze requirement, I took around 2 to 4 days, let's say. Now for the designing, I need to design. After getting the requirements clarification from the client, I just going to design that requirement. So I just draw my diagrams that these are the things that I need to put in my website, where I can put the links as well, where I can put those username and passwords as well. So these are the things that I need to be taken care of. Now, before going to describe about all these things, suppose design phase took around 3 to 4 or 6 days, let's say, and after designing your diagram has been corrected, it has been verified by your product manager, product owner. When I'm saying product manager, product owner, so since we are going into dealing with Agile methodology, I think all of us know what does it mean by product owner, not a product owner, I'm saying the project manager or the product manager or the client. The client doesn't, sometimes they directly come to us, they're demanding us, these are the requirement of mine. Sometimes it is coming through or the product owner, that is called PO, product owner. I'll explain those terms in later part of our Agile process. Now there is a phase called implementation after the design phase. Implementation part where we actually developing something. Let's say it will take around 13 to 30 days. So these are the implementation phase where or let's say it will taking around 45 days or 40 days, from 30 to 40 days it will take around, let's say. And the verification means after the implementation has been done by the developer, so we're going to verify those products. Now let's say it will taking around another 10 days, or yeah, let's say. It's just an example I'm giving you to understand the basic, why we are going to Agile, why we are not following any basic principle of SDLC earlier part. Now we go for refactoring. Refactoring came from when there is any bug, and when there is a major bug, we need to refactor that codes, or that might be implemented. So it may take around 20 days, or maybe 10 days, 10 to 20 days. Now quality check. After that, there is a quality check of 2 to 3 days. Now the product is going to be delivered. Now the total time period that is going to be delivered for that, let's say it's 3, 20, 30, 70, then 83, 84 days. Total time to deliver of the product is 84 days. Now you can see each day is consisting of each phase. Now I took around 2 or 4 days to analyze the requirement. Now there are specific number of specific specific skill set of peoples who are going to analyze the requirement. Specific skill set of peoples who are going to design that product. Specific skill set who are going to implement that product. specific skill set, we're going to verify, refactor, quality check, then we're going to do deliver the product. Now, when I'm saying specific skill set, specific time period, specific task or phases, because analyze the requirement is the work of the team as well as your manager, who is going to analyze what are the time period, what are the resources that need to be done, the number of resources we need to deliver or the development of that product. So these are the analyzing the requirement. Now the designing is the thing. After requirement, now the specific architecture come into the picture and they are going to design that code. Now these are the architectural flow where we can dealing with that type of flows and how to dealing with that type of scenarios, all these things. So these are the designing phase. Now after the designing phase, there is a phase called implementation. Now in the implementation phase, where we need to implement or actually develop that particular product, then we go through verification, refactor, quality check, and deliver. So these type of phases that I'm going to explain here, I'm just explaining you to this type of phases. So you can analyze that it will take around 84 days. That means it's take around 2.5 months time period. So a product that is going to be delivered 2 months and 15 days. In my process, here this is my process. What are the process I am following? I am following the software development lifecycle model. One model is called Waterfall Model. I am going for this phase. After the requirement has been finished, then we are going to process the design. We cannot follow the design phases before the requirement. You can see in this diagram that after the requirement has been covered, so we can shift to design phase. Now after the design phase has been over, we'll come to implementation phase. Now after the implementation has been over, we'll come to verification, then the maintenance phase. So each phase cannot be begun without or with the completion of requirement. Suppose requirement phase is completed, then we can start the work of design phase. Now design phase is completed, now we start the work of implementation. So there is a bottleneck. So what is a bottleneck on that phase? Now suppose some resources who are going to design the design phase and implementation phase, verification phase, those are going to work on that particular phases, they are still be stagnant. They are still not working on that particular time period. For those 2 and 4 days, when I have been analyzing the requirement, these resources who have been going to evolve in this type of phases and standing still because they do not know what are going to be happening. Now after 2 or 4 days, when it is coming for the designing peoples, now these 1, 3, 4, 5 and 6 step peoples are totally stagnant because they have nothing to do. Requirement phase is over, so their work has been over. So they have nothing to do with that. Now the designing people are doing the designing phases. Now implementation, verification and quality check peoples are staying stagnant. Now what to overcome those situations? Because the client who have been going to get the product, they did not wait for that time because I have been giving a particular time period. Suppose I cannot wait 2 months and 15 days to get my products delivered until unless it is very huge module. People who have been evolving or thinking about software development lifecycle, so they are come across a methodology that is called Agile. Now the Agile concept comes from the manufacturing industry called Toyota. So what they did, so heard about Toyota. So since it is a manufacturing company, all these things, when I am talking about software development lifecycle, any development phases, all these things, so these are actually evolving from the manufacturing industry because they are dealing with the client and they are dealing with the timeline. So when their management think about that, yes, we are taking that much of time, since it took around 2 months, 15 days to deliver a product, and each phase, suppose I am just going to manufacture a car. So if I manufacture car, let's say Toyota, so they have been manufacturing a car where they need a car design. Let's say my requirement is that I need an vehicle or Toyota thing that I need to produce a car with that type of features. I have a power steering, I have a power window, I have headlamps, I can have airbags, I have fog lights, all these things requirements. So these are the analyzing those requirements. They will take around 2 or 4 days. What are the things, what are the features, then they're going to design the car model, what it looks like, how it will be look like, what is the bumper color, how it will be look from the background. So these are the phases. So when I'm in the requirement phase, I am not thinking about how it will look like, how it is going to be implemented, how it will be driving in which speed. So these phases are being void. Until and unless I get the clear picture of the requirement, I cannot go to the design phase. So people who have been there in a manufacturing company, people who have been there in different phases, they have been stagnant. They have nothing to do with their production. So the production has been hampered in such a way. Suppose I have been demanding in a market, there is a demand. Now the demand has been heated by this type of production. So they came across a good idea. So I think all of you have understood those concepts, why I've been writing these waterfall models and why I've been describing those requirement design phases. So before, that's why Agile came into the picture. Agile doesn't know, people should not know what is an Agile methodology. So Agile came into the picture from the Toyota manufacturing industry, where they are just know what they want to be getting delivered to the product. Now, Agile has two parts. If I suppose, since I have already described to you in my previous examples are here. So here I have already described that Agile has two phases. Now before going to Agile, I am just going to say one of the things. Before going to Agile, let's say Agile is a methodology like software development lifecycle. It has a model. Now Agile has two parts. What are the parts? That is called Scrum. Another is called extended. One is it is a Scrum, and another is called XP. That is called extended programming. Now then another flow that has been currently going on. It is called Kanban methodology. I forget about Kanban. Forget about extended programming. So there are two Agile methodology has two processes. That is called, one process is called Scrum, another process is called extended programming, that is called XP. Now there is nothing difference in these two. The only difference in these two are Scrum is nothing but a duration of the time. Why I am segregating? Suppose I say, let's say this is my, I'm giving an example here. So if it is my Agile, so Agile has two parts. Agile has two parts. What are those parts? One is Scrum and another is XP. So my handwriting is very bad in the mouse. Okay, leave it. So Agile has two processes, that is called Scrum and XP. Now Agile is a methodology like Waterfall. Waterfall is a methodology, Waterfall Model. Agile has a methodology, it's a concept. Now this concept came from, I am giving an example of Toyota. Now these are been divided into two categories, that is called Scrum, this one, and XP. Now how we are segregating those methodologies, Scrum and XP? Now Scrum, the word Scrum, I'll tell you why the word and why. It is the duration of the time, that is called the duration of the period, time period. When I'm saying something that is Scrum or extended programming, it is differentiated with the name of duration. Duration means the time it will take complete the actual requirement, or the time that it required to deliver a product. Now the time that is going to be required to deliver a product in Scrum generally takes 2 weeks to 4 weeks. So when I'm saying for Scrum, the general time period to deliver the product is 2 to 4 weeks in weeks, and for extended programming it is 1 month to many months, 2, 3, 4, like this way, in months. So this, since it is an extended programming, as the name suggests, so it is an extended way. So that is Scrum at 2 to 4 weeks, or this one, extended programming, where we can take the example of how it is going to be, what is the duration of that. So extended programming and Scrum has the differentiation of time duration. Okay, now the Scrum and the extended programming, when I'm saying extended programming and Scrum, how could I differentiate that one? Now the best example, suppose let's say what I'm saying, giving an example, just have a watch, or we can take it in another either way, that extended programming hardly take about 1 to 3 days. That is the way. Yes, correctly. If I'm yes, extended programming hardly takes when I'm saying extended programming, so Scrum takes 2 to 4 weeks, means within 1 month it's going to be delivered. Extended programming is 1 to 3 days, very small period, or above 1 to 3 months, less time period, or going to be 1 or 2 or 3 months, then it is called extended programming. When I'm saying extended programming, in the case 1 or 2 days, it may be take 1 or 2 days, or might be take 1, 2 or 3 months. So Scrum is the shortest duration of time that will take to deliver a product. So we are not going to discuss about the XP or the extended programming. We are just going to describe about the benefits and the agile methodology that will be helpful for Scrum. Now Scrum has also a certain periods as well. So what are the stages of Scrum and how it is going to help us? Now when I'm differentiating between Scrum and extended programming, it is definitely nothing with that of the another part. It's just only the duration part. It's the time period that will take around. And in Scrum, the Scrum is a process where the teams is working in a Scrum. So this Scrum is typically work in an, what I say, iteration or the sprints. So these are the terms that I'm going to use in Scrum. Now, why I have been differentiating about Scrum and extreme programming? Now, extreme programming, when you are, suppose you have a question that, yes, Dipti, tell me why we are using Scrum and why not we going to going for XP. Now, Scrum teams do not, I mean, suppose let's say when I'm starting the Scrum in a team, once I taken the work order, or let's say you do not understand work order right now, let's say when I'm taking a product delivery, suppose I'm taking that work order to be delivered. Now once I have taken that work order to deliver, now it will going to not be changed until and unless it will going to be delivered. So that is the differentiation of Scrum and methodology, and the extreme programming is been differentiated by the time period, as well as it can be changed depending upon the priority. It can take 1 or 3 days, or it can take above 1 or 3 days above and 1 month as well. So the basic differences that I am going to explain you over here is Scrum and extended programming. The teams we are going to work on Scrum, they generally do not take any requirements during that period. When the people who have been working in a Scrum model, they do not take any work order or requirements since the starting of the Scrum. Let's say, so we forget about all those things. Let's go for a scratch. I'm going for a presentation where I can see why we are going to and how the Scrum evolves. Now you can see the diagram over here. Now what does it mean by Scrum? The Scrum is nothing but a formation. So you can see the diagram over here in my presentation. Scrum is the formation. Scrum is the formation. You can see rugby, the play game in US, the game. So they have been tightly coupled. So somebody is going to ask him what is Scrum and why the name Scrum came from. Actually, it came from a formation. Scrum means bonding. So this formation, it is, as you can see that the diagram here, they have been forming as a joint venture. So it is tightly coupled. When I am saying tightly coupled, that means it is a formation. Now we know that Agile has a process that is called Scrum. Now we know what is a Scrum. I'm not going to describe about why we are going to use Scrum. Now you can see in my section that Scrum is an Agile process that allows us to deliver all the things higher business values. And one more point important is that it allows us to rapidly, repeatedly inspect actually working software even 2 weeks to 1 month. That I already explained to you. That it take around 2 weeks to 1 month. The business steps the priority. Team self-organize to determine best way to deliver the highest priority. I will explain each point. Every 2 weeks to 1 month, anyone can see real working software and decide to release and all these things. I'll describe about Scrum, all this detail. Before that, we're going to describe the origin of the Scrum. Now, how the Scrum has been originated. Now, you can see initially Scrum is described by SL Corporation 1993 by Jeff Sutherland. Now, they have been 500 more people who have been working on that particular model. That I given an example of Scrum. Now, Ken Schauber, who has also author of the Scrum, he has also added certain points into that Scrum, because when it was evolved, it was not evolved what are going to be the process, what are the methodology of Scrum, what are the process that going to be followed to follow the processes. Now then Scrum patterns came by the Mike Biddle. Then Ken Sober, Mike Cohn has been co-founded Scrum Alliance. Initially it is called Agile Alliance. So these are the history of those Scrum that I'm going to describe. So here I'm not going to details about how Scrum works, how is going to be work on that. So I'm just describing how Scrum, when I'm saying Scrum, how it can be explained in 100 words. So these are the things that I've been showing off in my screen. That Scrum is an agile process that allow us to focus. Each and every word that have been written over here is a meaning. You can understood once we're going to have an exercise. In the later part of our agile training, we'll come across the exercise where I'll give an actual scenario with a game. So I'm giving a demo game demonstration where each and every individual would understand the scenario and they will work upon that game and they will understand what are the processes, what are the steps that need to follow to successfully deliver a shippable product. So you can see every time I have been saying shippable product, that means it is shippable in such a way that the product that is going to be delivered to the client every 2 weeks or 4 weeks, it will be usable by the client. So that's why I'm saying when I'm written over here that 2 or 4 weeks is the time period or the duration of this Scrum. Now you can see that the Scrum has a diagram. So you can see in your screen that is called Scrum. So this is the diagram that I'm going to explain in the later part of this training session. So here today we're just focusing about what is Scrum, histories of Scrum. I told you these are the histories of Scrum. You can Google it anywhere and can find more details. Sometimes I'm not spending much time on the history of Scrum. There are different interesting stories, how Scrum has been evolved, what are the methodology, how it has been came across in the manufacturing industry, how Jeff Sutherland came into a picture where they understand each point and how they come from the methodology, the Agile Manifesto as well. So I'll going to each and everything I'll going to explain you after this each and every session will come across. Now I have already been described about what is Scrum. Now every word that I've been emphasizes is Agile is a process that allows us to focus on delivering the highest business value in the shortest time. Now why we are using Scrum? The main point is that the time duration of that is very slow. Now you might have a question that in earlier SDLC life cycle, when people who have been using or delivering the products using waterfall or spiral or any type of model they have been following in different organizations, how it's been different from that? There also we are going to deliver the product with highest business values. But yes, the difference here is that this is the difference. What is the difference? Now this one. This is the most important. That is called the shortest time. These two things are shortest time. Now you might the question came from your mind that how it will be delivered a successful business value with shortest time. Since we are taking almost how much time it will take? When I am giving an example, that is called 2 months and 15 days to deliver a product. Suppose I have been designing a product which take analyzing phase, this phase, and it take all total of 2 months and 15 days. Now you are saying it will be delivered within 2 to 4 weeks. How it could be possible? Yes, we can achieve that. But how? It will be a great trick and it's a great magic to all of us. When you came across with Agile and the different types of methodology, how it is going to be work on that Agile methodology as well. So there is very interesting, I'm just sharing one of the video. Before going to share this video, so just consider why we are going to use that one and why we are going to, what is the need of Scrum and how the Scrum has been evolved, why we are going to use that Scrum methodology and how it is helpful for us. Okay, before that, I just going to show you one of the video where It will help us to understand those things that is called Agile Methodology, and what are the principles, the values of Scrum. That is called Scrum Framework. So now I'm going to play that video. Just watch for 4-7 minutes. So you can see in my screen that this is a nice presentable video, but I know that some of you cannot understand certain topics, certain naming convention. What is product backlog, what is release backlog, what is a scrum master, what is product owner. Forget about that. We're going to come across as and when we required in our agile training program for this. So my main motto to show you this video is that to understand the concept of the three values, or the values of the scrum, that is the correctness and completeness, focus, and continuous delivery of the product. When I'm saying continuous delivery of the product, that I'm saying, so the point that I've been analyzing over here in my screen, that suppose I have been going to deliver a product within, let's say in the earlier time it will take around 2 months and 15 days. Now I am saying using Scrum I can going to deliver the product within 2 or 4 weeks. That's not exactly correct. So what then, why we're using Scrum? The main methodology of using the Scrum that has been described in that video is that potentially shippable product. When I'm saying potentially shippable, each and every week, suppose, since I have been already described in the Scrum starts with a duration. When I'm saying Scrum start with a duration, that means Scrum has a duration. Let's say we are defining the 2 weeks sprint or the 4 weeks. Okay, so you are not familiar with the steps that is called sprints or the weeks. So now you understood the concept of Scrum, you understood the values of Scrum, how it is going to work out. Now in the next step, we're going to understood how it is going to work. Up to that, if you have any questions, you can ask me. Till now, any questions? You can ask me or you can send me the queries. So into our training program, our training partners, Kernel training partners will, you can go through them and send me the questions, or you can directly ask me the question at the time of session as well. So if you have questions, so you can call me on that, actually on that part as well. So basically today's session we are just describing about how Scrum has been evolved, what are the basic functions of the Scrum, how it is going to be evolved in a particular manner. Now in the next part we are going to think about what are the parts of the Scrum, how it will going to take part into the Scrum, and how it will help us to take part and to evolve a continuous delivery programs into that. So in the next section we'll going to describe, as you can see, so this is a video that have been taken from one of the presentation what I'm attending. So they have been describing, so we are going to each and every session we have a video session, we have an exercise session where we can describe about how you're going to use those Scrums as well, how we're going to emphasize the values of Scrum into our project, how it will help us to continuously deliver the product to our product owner. So here there are different things that I'm going to explain in later part of this session, is that it helps basically to find or to deliver the product in a, okay, now the main thing that I'll explain you on this is that why we are using Scrum. Now the basic part is potentially shippable product in a shorter duration of time. When I'm saying shorter duration of time means since we are taking so much number of times to deliver a particular product. Now within how quickly we are going to deliver the product to the product owner, or they say let's say a client. Now Scrum has been evolving, they have certain rules, there are certain regulation, there are certain what I can say that Scrum is nothing but a process oriented. Somebody who is going to be not acquainted with process, that will hamper to all those things that I do not follow the process, I can work and I can deliver the product to the client. But at the end of this delivery of your product, you can find that whenever you come across all this delivery kind of thing, that is implementation, verification, refactor. So these phases are how quickly these 6 phases have been overcome with 2 or 4 weeks. Now you have a big questions, like usually when earlier we are developing or using following software development life cycle, it will take around 2 and 15 months to 2 months and 15 days. Now how it will be taking around 2 or 4 weeks, and at how fast? Are we compromising with the quality of the product? No, we are not compromising the quality of the product. That we're going to explain in the later part of the session. When you come across the session, when you come across our training program, will help you to understand each and every step of Scrum. Now I'm giving an just for your expertise. This is the first class we are just going to explain. This is the demo class for you. Let's think about how it will be helpful for giving you the proficient of managing your project. Now, how quickly you are managing to project and how quickly you are able to deliver the project as well. So for that reason, we are going to look into that. So in the next sessions, we are going to helpful for that, how to organize the Scrum and how to deal with different steps, different methodology, all these things. If you have any doubts, you can ask me anytime. Okay, and I think Scrum has I just forget to tell you that Scrum has a very interesting factor. This interesting factor dealing with how to dealing with your client. When you are interested to dealing with your what I say, peoples who have been with the client facing industry. Some of you have interested that I'm going to work with the peoples who have been dealing with the client. Now these are the things where I able to means how to emphasize how to. So I've just in my later part of the training I'm going to explain about how I've been successfully able to in one of my projects. So I've been able to successfully deliver the product within the stipulated time period with using Scrum. Now currently we are using Kanban in my organization, that is called Kernel training program. We are also doing environment with Scrum because we are dealing with different consultancies where the people report their projects that can be delivered within a stipulated time period. Now we have processed our manner in a Scrum way. So we can also in your day-to-day life, you can also do your Scrums in your day-to-day manner as well. So thanks you very much, and in the later part of the session we can describe about all those things.